Hey, Adam,
Jeez,
one
why,
thing.
why do you think they're called bumpers, Gary?
I don't know.
Because they come at the beginning, at the end, like bumpers.
Alex, you're a marketing guy. Do you like that design behind Paul? Does that logo thing look pretty cool to you?
Hey, I forgot to hit the record button.
That's really professional, isn't it?
Well, this is a professional podcast.
I met her in a parking lot and was handed 2 little Yorkies. And the only person I knew that knew Yorkies was Paul. So I called Paul and said, Paul.
Sweet Talk is a weekly 20-minute podcast brought to you by the Continuing Education and Workforce Training Division of Idaho State University's College of Technology. Find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and SoundCloud, and subscribe today. Now it's time to get started with Sweet Talk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sweet Talk, our weekly podcast here at Idaho State University's Continuing Education and Workforce Training. I'm your co-host, Paul Dilley, the Video Instruction Manager and Apprenticeship Coordinator here at SWEET. And as always, Gary Salazar, our director, is joining us for our podcast today. Gary, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Paul. Thank you very much. It's good to be here too on a Friday because we're recording on a Friday and it is a beautiful day outside. So this is a nice way to end the week. And everybody around here has had a busy time. So this is a nice way to start wrapping up the week with a podcast.
It has been busy. Gary, have you noticed we're starting to get into that, geez, I want to play hooky weather?
Yes. We ought to start holding classes and things outside. You're absolutely right. Hey, and also joining us today, everybody, is Angela Wilhelm. Angela is our marketing coordinator. Angela, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very, very well.
Good,
I'm particularly excited today. We have a special guest on here. We have Haley Dilley with Haley Dilley Hair. She's a wonderful local business owner. Welcome, Haley. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi friends. Thanks for having me. I am a local haircut specialist. I own my own chair within another salon here, and I mainly work with the LGBT community here. I specialize in gender-affirming haircuts. And I work on a nonprofit that also works within the community. And that's a little bit about me.
Very cool. Paul has a question obviously he wants to lead off.
Yeah, I do. So Haley, what is a gender-affirming haircut?
So a gender-affirming haircut is offered for people who may feel like they are in a transition in their gender identity, or may have never received a haircut that went with how they identify. So I sit with them and we talk about their goals for what they would like to do with their hair and how they would like to appear and present themselves so that they feel more affirmed within their own bodies. So we just take time to do that, talk about what they're doing, and then give them the haircut that they've wanted.
Okay.
Well, that's pretty cool.
So when people are maybe making a transition or deciding how they're going to change their hairstyle, is it, say that they want a more feminine haircut, is it something that they may have to wait until they get more length, or is it something that you may consult with them and go, hey, you need a little more length, let's wait until you have more length and then we can apply this haircut, or something that they go, I kind of want something that's more feminine now? How does that work typically?
Yeah, I don't think that length of hair really defines a feminine haircut. I personally identify as a feminine woman, and I've had mullets and mohawks and 3 inches of hair. And so I think it's really just about how they would like to present, and then being able to fit the length of hair or the hairstyle to their own face and their personalities and their characteristics, and just the vision that they have within their brain, and bringing that out on the outside.
So when they're deciding on the affirming haircut, and do you see an actual transition once you finish the haircut, something that they look in the mirror and they go, that's me?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's always a little bit nervous because generally when I do like a gender affirming haircut, it tends to be their first time meeting me. They're not sure what the experience will be in a salon, because the reality of a trans person walking into a hair salon is not always a good one. Statistically, it's not a welcoming space, or a safe one at that. And so there's a lot of nervousness and vulnerability that comes with that. And then I can see a physical release of stress. You can see my stress just talking about it, but from their body, just relaxing, the tension in their shoulders goes down. And then when I take the cape off and we're finished styling it, like the brightness within their face, knowing that like this is what they've always wanted, and they've been affirmed in that. And what's really great is it doesn't feel like, I don't want to say it doesn't feel special, but it doesn't feel like anything over the top, because what people really want is just to be welcomed within public spaces. And I'm glad to be able to give that public space of safety and just affirming to someone who isn't always welcome.
So Haley, how do people, I mean, is it a kind of a community within a community that they find you? And someone says, hey, this is the person that I go to. This is the person that understands my needs and what is a safe place. Is that how they find you?
That's how it started for sure. I was definitely word of mouth for a long time. And then as I started to realize I was hitting a niche of people that I wanted to be serving every day, I started to market myself. So now on every platform that I use, on my website, on my Instagram, when I speak in public, it's one of the first things I say that I offer. And I've gotten requests from out of state, because when you type in a gender affirming haircut, my name comes up with like the algorithm. And unfortunately, I don't live in California anymore. And I think just like where my name has been, I've had to tell people, well, if you want to fly to Idaho. But so I do get a good mix of word of mouth and then social media marketing.
So I have a question, Haley. I've seen some advertisements and pictures for your salon, and you've been giving people like, the only way I can describe it is like sensory toys or poppets, or can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's very unique.
For sure. I offer a little forum before people come in to customize their experience within the salon. I offer, like you said, sensory fidget toys. I have a bag of them because sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking talking to someone while they're chopping your hair off, and it's a lot of trust. So it kind of just helps calm the nerves. And I work with a lot of teenagers too, so they can be a little bit hyperactive. So it's nice to have something for them to fidget on while their head is holding still. I offer an assortment of beverages and snacks. I also offer the ability to choose how much talking they would like. We can have a full, fun, energetic appointment. We can also have a silent appointment where we just talk about what our goals are for the day. And then the rest of the appointment, we don't talk at all. There's no small talk. I wash their hair, cut it, blow dry it, and then check in with them. But that way there's never a pressure to feel like they have to maintain a conversation they may not be wanting for that day. My experience is all about making sure that my client is the most comfortable they want to be. And sometimes people just want to check out.
So Haley, no, go ahead, Gary.
I want to take her back a second. You made an important, for me, a distinction when you said you're a haircut specialist. And typically I think of a hairdresser. I mean, and I don't know, is that a difference between those two?
I think that the terminology for someone working within the hair industry has changed many times. Beautician, beauty specialist. So my distinction is I just cut hair. I don't offer any kind of color services.
Okay.
I've learned that we can't be a jack of all trades. That kind of was what it was 10 years ago. But now when you're looking to get hair services done, it's a lot easier and you get a better bang for your buck if you go to people who are doing what you are looking for.
Sure.
So,
good.
Thank
you. Thanks for explaining that. So how did you, I mean, you've gone through a school, you're a certified haircut specialist as a result of that, or did you just learn this on your own? Could you
So I
talk to
went to
that?
beauty school 10 years ago. And then when I decided to start specializing in hair cutting, I take just hair cutting classes.
Okay.
So I don't have a certification, but I do have lots of continued education under my
Gotcha.
belt.
Gotcha. Thank you. And because of what you're doing right now, you have, how long have you been here? I'm sorry. What's your history coming here into Pocatello? You mentioned California, so you're living
Yeah.
here now. And where is the haircut salon store
For
business?
sure. I moved here in 2018 from Northern
Okay.
California. I went to school in 2012, so I've been doing
Mhm.
this now for about 12 years or 10
Oh, wow.
years. Yeah.
Okay. Super.
Yeah.
That's really good
My
experience then.
yeah, I'm doing it for a minute.
Yeah.
My dad lives up here, so I came over, and I now work at Fringe Salon, so within her space,
Okay.
and she's really given me a lot of freedom to brand myself, work on the things I've wanted, and then created the environment that I needed for the clients that I serve.
That's cool. That's a good background, good experience in there too. And I just want to clarify for my own thinking, your specialty then is transgender, but do you also cut hair for others? Anybody who wants to come on in and talk to you? Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
I cut all hair. If you have it on your head.
I don't know.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know, Paul. I've got the same issue as you do. I mean, I'm thinking of, hey, would I go for another style? But you got a beard. I mean, do you cut beards too?
I do
No.
not. I have some
Okay.
great friends that do, but please don't come to me for that.
Hey, Haley, so you have a specialty where you service the LGBTQ community, but when did you realize that they needed someone to cut their hair? When did you realize this was something that people were looking for?
Sure. In the last 2 or 3 years, I've really realized it. I had a lot of friends coming in, being queer myself, I'm within the community. And then I would have my friends coming in and talking about how they had never received the kind of service they were receiving from me in a salon. And especially my trans clients. And as I started getting my name out a little bit more within the community, I was just asking and researching, how can I make my space more safe? How can I make this more welcoming? And I did have a friend say, you can say that you cut trans people's hair, that you service the trans community, because no one will say it out loud. And I said, no, you're right. And so that's when I started branding fully that way, because I don't want it to be a subtlety. I don't want it to be a secret. I don't want to be the space that is hush hush. This is where she does that. I want people to know that there is a space for them within Pocatello, Idaho.
Yeah, not to go down such a political road, but
Sure.
Are trans people now seeking more, what they consider more safe spaces because of the atmosphere that's been created in the last couple of years?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a big fear for a lot of my friends and the people that I talk to. And so just existing for them is a dangerous thing, but being in public is what's most important, and being seen. And so I think finding places that they feel included and welcome is a priority.
Yeah,
Oh,
that is.
and
Go ahead,
go
Paul.
ahead, Gary.
All right.
Well,
That's yeah, that's such a strong statement, Haley, to be able to say that, because my personal feeling on a haircut for me is, I want to look good. I want to feel comfortable with it. So there's a mental health component to that when you talk about helping people feel secure, feeling safe in a place, to have such a personal thing as a haircut. I think that's awesome that you have gone down this path to find people who want this, and now you offer this service here. Well, and mentally, it gives people positive feelings about themselves, and I feel better when I get a haircut. I don't look as shaggy as maybe I thought I was. You walk out and you go, hey, I feel good. And in this case, you're providing that same service, but you're helping people feel good about themselves, internally as well. Really cool. I'm sorry, Paul, what was your question?
No. So you had said earlier something about not being welcome. Are typically when a trans person goes into, say, hairdresser A, are they not welcomed? Do they get rejected or, just sour looks?
For sure. I can't pull the statistic right off of my head, but I know I have them on my Instagram. But statistically, trans clients are more likely to be misgendered or pushed into haircuts that don't fit their style. So when they go in and ask, so a trans woman goes in and asks for a pixie haircut or a feminine haircut, they are refused that service. Or say a trans man that wants to buzz his hair and is given a pixie and walks out with a feminine short haircut because the stylist refused to do it. Or just the general atmosphere within the salon. I still can't control the people that are in the salon with my other stylists, but I have faith that the people I work with will make it more comfortable and be okay with having those conversations, that when a queer person walks in there aren't any looks and there's not side glances or microaggressions happening within the space that we're within.
So you just kind of popped another question in my head. Since you are in a salon that is shared space, has some of the other, because you service those people from that community, have you been able to actually introduce those people to other clients or the other stylists haircut within that to actually maybe alleviate some of the people from other communities' fears about them?
I hope so. I don't think there's ever been any like direct conversation in that way, because what I want to create is a normal experience in a salon. I wouldn't be introducing my other clients to each other unless we were interacting. But that's like the beauty of the salon and why I really enjoy a salon space. I love the idea of being able to have a full conversation between 6 people talking about the newest restaurant. And I have offered to some of my clients, would it make you feel more comfortable to come in when there's no one in the salon?
Mm-hmm.
And I have had 1 or 2 of them say, no, I want to feel like I am part of a community, that I am a person walking into a salon and be treated as such.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Great answer too. And that makes me feel pretty good that I think a lot of haircut places and stuff, they are set in a certain way, but you're opening up an opportunity, which is a service. Certainly you're taking care of a niche group here, but you're opening up an opportunity for other people to come on in and be comfortable there and still be in a fairly normal environment. I mean, we are a community, so there's all sorts of different people here. I like the fact that you've taken the steps to do this, and it's really a bold step on your part, but how cool. And a lot of people are going to find that and they're going to go, I want to go to Haley's place, or I want to go talk to her because I feel good about that. I mean, that's why I go to a certain place. I feel good about that haircut. I like the way that I get treated there. Of course, why not? And that is so neat. Hey, do you have any favorite stories you might want to share about one of your haircutting experiences?
Sure. We did a gender-affirming haircut event, and it was in November, and it's an event where we offer free haircuts specifically for youth, but not limited to. So they can come in and get gender-affirming haircuts free of cost within that day. One of the kids that was getting their haircut didn't dress up, but got his haircut into a short cropped cut, looks at his mom and says, wow, Mom, I am going to look so good in a suit now. And it just warmed my heart. That was probably my favorite experience.
Oh, so and that's important too. You take care of not just adults, but also kids, teenagers, kids that come on in.
I do a lot of teenagers. Okay. And what's so important is sometimes this is the time that they are validated. Their pronouns are used correctly. Their names are used correctly. And then they get to feel and look the way that they would like to be presenting.
I was just going to ask that, the fact that you deal with younger people, and it must be nice that, parents who are supportive of their children, they feel that they can bring them in and give them a safe space, and also boosting confidence about who they are.
Yeah.
Hey, Haley, we're getting really down to the last minute of our podcast, and one of the things we want to make sure we do is give you as our guest an opportunity to tell anybody out there who's listening or watching, if they had a question or if they wanted to reach out to you or learn more about the haircut, is there a best way that you say, hey, yeah, contact me this way or get in touch with me here? Would you like to say?
Absolutely. I have a website, it's haleydilleyhair.com.
Mhm.
And I have all of my information on there. And then if they would like to see my work or want to DM me, I am Haley Dilley Hair on Instagram as well.
On Instagram. And that's a big photo place. You got a lot of pictures there?
I do.
Yeah,
Lots
well,
of
that's
photos
cool.
and education.
Nice.
Super. Yeah, hey, Paul and Angela, I don't know what you think about this, but we are pretty close to wrapping this up here. Do you have any final questions before we go?
I don't have any final questions, but I do have a final thought. I've actually had my hair cut by Haley before, and I can 100% tell you when you walk in, she treats you like she's known you for a million years. It is very, very nice because I've been in situations where it's a little bit awkward whether or not you talk to the hairdresser or not, because I typically just go to whoever has an open spot for that particular day. And when you walk into Haley's salon for the first time, you 100% feel like she's been your friend for 10 years.
Yeah, that's so cool. Great way to say that. And I don't know if you guys heard the timer go off, but it did go off. We are at time right now. Yeah, I'm sorry, Paul. You had another question.
More round of questions because
Yeah.
now I just want to go with just the haircut part.
Just the haircut part.
Just the haircut part, because as a person who cuts hair, you do get a whole bunch of different clienteles. And how do you deal with, the person comes in that just chatty, and the person who says nothing and gives you no feedback, and you have no idea whether they like the haircut or not, and you just go, well, if they come back, I guess they liked it.
Yeah. Hey, well, we're gonna have to wrap this up, Paul. And Haley, so glad that you took the time to join us today. I love learning new things, and hearing you talk about what you do is so cool. For those of you out there, Haley Dilley she's a haircut specialist. She cuts hair for everybody, but also specializes in our trans community. Does a fantastic job helping make them be comfortable while they're there and working with them to their needs. Haley, thank you again. I love the fact that you're doing this. I appreciate you coming on board. Paul and Angela, thank you for being here. Paul, we need to wrap this up, man.
We need to wrap this up. Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Angie. Haley, thank you so much for being on today. Really enjoyed the conversation. So if you want to get a hold of us, you can check out our website for all the current offerings we have. That's cetrain.isu.edu. You can email us at cetrain@isu.edu. You can also give us a call the old-fashioned way at 208-282-3372. And remember, if you like this podcast, please like, share, subscribe, And Gary, can't do this without you, man.
Oh, yeah, you can. You're doing great. Super. Thanks, Paul. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Miss Haley. You guys have a great weekend and be safe out there.